meeting. Welcome to all of you. I'm glad that you're able to join us virtually. We're really excited to warm up the benefits conversation. You guys can see the flames flickering on the screen, and I believe you probably received a nice little gift at home, a small Folo stove. Hopefully they've arrived. I make a lot of bad jokes as we're talking about flames and fire. So now you know the punchline. But Southern Ionics understands that our employees are our most valuable asset, and your well-being both inside and outside the workplace are a top priority for us. Today's session is going to provide you with important information about your health, wellness, and financial benefits available to you and your family. We're going to walk through some new changes. We're going to remind you about your existing resources, and we're going to answer any questions that you may have so that you can make the best decisions that you need to make during that open enrollment period to help with your individual needs. So let's go ahead and get started. On this first slide, I want to call attention to our vision. The 4 pillars of Southern Ionics vision is safety, reliability, quality, and service. And each of these are equally important. And achieving our goals as a company requires us to uphold all 4 of them without compromise. You cannot prioritize one of them at the expense of the other. And as employees, we must strive not only to meet, but to truly exceed these standards every day, working together to build a stronger, more prosperous future for us all. And I do appreciate what you guys do on a daily basis, how you contribute to this. Thank you for that. And I want to talk about safety for a moment. Our total recordable incident rate is 0.85. And each year when we do the benefit meetings, I mentioned the goal is 0. Anything less than 1 is considered, world class. It's great. That's a good number. But the reality behind that number is we have 3 employees who are off right now on workers' compensation leave. I believe all 3 had to have some type of surgery. One person was off last year when I did open enrollment meetings, and he's still not able to return to work. That is a significant injury that impacted that person, their family, their coworkers. There is not any task that you are doing that is so urgent that it cannot be done safely. And by staying focused, following our best practices, and looking out for one another, we can prevent accidents before they happen. Safety isn't just a policy, it's a mindset, and we all need to take responsibility for creating and keeping a safe work environment. And I want you to remember that our company's strength begins with you, and your safety is our foundation of growth. So let's make it a priority in everything that we do. So a number of months back, I was reading an article in Forbes magazine that highlighted how companies demonstrate their commitment to their employees, or how they show they really care. And the top 3 things were providing a safe work environment, good competitive wages, and providing comprehensive health benefits. And I truly believe that Southern Ionics meets that mark. And for me, I like to say, I think we exceeded. I'm very proud of the benefit package that we have, and excited to share it with you today. In a moment, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Kaylee Baxter, who's going to stoke the fire and share some really exciting new benefit information with you all. But before that, I want to introduce a new partner that we have. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to join the call today, and I'm going to go through their slides, but you will have their contact information. The 2 gentlemen are T. Dale and Scott Reeves. T stands for Thomas, but he goes by T. So T. Dale or Scott Reeves, they're with Blue Wealth Management, and Blue Wealth Management was founded in 1988, and they are one of the Southeast premier wealth management firms. We have partnered with Blue Wealth Management to serve as a fiduciary to both our 401k plan and you as our plan participants. T and Scott will be available to you, our employees, to help you with your individual investment retirement needs. Okay, the things that the gentleman from Blue Wealth or covering is the plan highlights, making sure that you know how to use Fidelity net benefits navigation, and the retirement planning tools and resources. Okay, and this picture here, it's, as you can see, it's somebody looking at plans. And the old adage, if you fail to plan, what happens? You plan to fail. There. It is important for us to set a good foundation for what we are hoping to achieve. So let's check what are the best ways for us to save for retirement. And a good question is they'll say, okay, the normal retirement age is 67. How much money do you think that you're going to need to have in your 401k plan or in your investment, your retirement portfolio by the time you reach the normal retirement age of 67 in order to live comfortably? What is the average that they say? I don't know if anybody wants to throw it in the chat for me or not. That's fine. But Fidelity says on their website that you need to have 10 times your annual salary. So if I make $100,000 a year, by the time I retire, I need to have $1 million in my plan. And then how are we working towards that goal? But to keep in mind that 10 times figure comes from a combination of your workplace savings plan, your personal investments such as IRA and pension, and this 10 times guideline simply gives you the framework that will help you keep growing in the right direction. There is still power in contributing small amounts, so don't be overwhelmed. It's never too late to get started, especially for the folks a lot younger than me. So, but it's never too late. And that's the good thing about having long-term goals. So the highlights that we want to remind you about our plan is employees are eligible immediately upon hire date. Lots of plans, especially where I came from before here, have like a 1-year waiting period before you can start contributing or getting matched. So ours, you're eligible from day one to participate in the 401k for all full-time employees. We offer both pre-tax and post-tax Roth contributions. And Southern Ionics matches dollar for dollar up to 100% of the first 6% that you put in there. And what's really exciting is it is 100% vested. There's not a cliff vesting. You don't have to work with us 7 years, but so immediately vested. For 2024, you can contribute up to $23,000 unless you're over age 50. That amount is $30,500. And next year, they'll both go up another $500. So next year, if you're over 50, you'll be able to contribute $31,000 into your 401k plan. It is not meant to be a savings account. The withdrawals are very limited. They're shown there as retirement, termination of employment, disability. There are a few hardship circumstances that may qualify, and I would encourage you to speak with Fidelity about those individually. With net benefits, you receive an email. A new hire employee receives a notification once they're entered into the payroll system, and enrolling is easy. The most important thing is you always want to update your beneficiary information. If your favorite person changes, you get remarried, whatever, you need to update those beneficiaries. We'll talk about that in another slide. But that last bullet has T. Dale and Scott Reeves, their phone numbers and their emails. Also in the package that was mailed to your home, there's a wallet-sized card that has all of the benefit contact information, and their info's in there too. But feel free to reach out to them. If you want them to answer questions for you, take a look at your investments, your plan. I've got great feedback already from a number of people that have utilized them, and there will never be a charge to you, period. As I said, Southern Ionics has partnered with them to provide support to us and our employees at no charge to you. So you can download the app, Net Benefits, onto your smartphone. You just want to make sure when you go to the App Store that you are getting the one that has the N on it. That's the Net Benefits. Both of them will work, and get to your account, the regular Fidelity or the Net Benefits. But the Net Benefits app has a lot more function that you can do with it. And you'll find some really great online workshops that are free through Fidelity. I encourage you to take a look at that website.
Susan, to clarify, you mentioned you mailed a packet to the house?
There was a package mailed to your house that had the Solo stove and some other items inside it. Did you get yours, Gretchen?
Yeah, I didn't open the stove. So there's stuff inside that box?
Yes, there is.
No.
The materials for the information that we were handing out at the meetings and the stove are inside that box.
I'm sorry, I'll cut in there. I think you guys actually got the benefit guide emailed.
Yes.
And you may not have gotten the card.
No, I
we
didn't
were,
get the card. in the
yes, and I will
box.
get those mailed out to you. We were getting those printed. We had a very tight deadline on those, and I will make sure you get one.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Because I didn't get a card.
Yes,
Okay,
I'll
We
make.
will get
I'll
those
mail
out in the mail today. Thank you for letting me know.
Thanks.
All right. So on the screen here, the 401k contribution is the amount you can put in. Match is separate. So I can put $31,000 next year into my 401k and I can get 6% of my base salary. Although, me putting in 31% will be much more than 6, right? But 31,000 does not impact your match. Your match is on top of that. So if you just do the easy math, if I'm putting in 6 and I get 6 from the company, I'm saving 12% of my income. If I'm putting in 20% of mine and I get 6 from the company, I'm putting in 24%. And the 31,000 is only my money that's limited. I can go up to 31 matches on top. Did that answer that? Yes, perfect. Okay. So if you have previously registered with Net Benefits, you don't need to register again. Use your existing username and password to get onto this account. Like I had never put it on my phone app until T. Dale started talking about it. I only went to it on my computer, but now I have it on my phone, so it's really cool. I like that. But same username, same password. Okay. When you go to your screen, this is what it looks like. And what we really want to make sure is drawing your attention to where you go to change your beneficiary, which I'll get there in a minute. The dashboard, if you go back one, Kaylee, the dashboard here is when you look at that, that just gives you a quick snapshot. You can see easily what your balance is, what contribution limit you're at, and what your average rate of return is. It's a nice website. FT and Scott both said Fidelity is the largest 401k provider out there, and they have lots of resources and bells and whistles. There's good stuff on this site. If you don't spend much time there, I highly encourage checking it out. But what we want to message is on the next screen, when you're here and you do the drop down menu, you will see the beneficiary tab. Make sure that you have a beneficiary online, because things do change. If you started working for us 20 years ago, as you said earlier, your favorite person might be different now. My family's grown. I have a new grandchild. Maybe I want to add beneficiaries. But I'm sure you all know this, but if you don't have a beneficiary listed for your 401k plan and you pass away, your 401k plan is going to have to go through probate. If you have a beneficiary listed, that person just needs to contact Fidelity with a copy of your death certificate, and within a few days, they can have access to all of the 401k monies. And we've seen it through the years work both ways, with people who had a beneficiary and with people who didn't. It is a lot of stress on your loved ones if you don't have a beneficiary named within your 401k plan. So I highly encourage you to take a look at that. And if you need help, again, you can reach out to one of us, or you can talk to Fidelity Direct. Okay, on the target date investments, I am not an investment expert, so I'm really not going to talk to this. I'll leave that for you to reach out to T. Dale and Scott. But as the fiduciaries, one of the things that they did is they used the word scrubbed, looked at our current investments that we were utilizing and made some recommendations. So there's a couple new investments that you'll see in 2025. But on this screen, what you see are these are the target funds. If you want the set it and forget it method, you don't really want to pick your individual investments, you can do these target date funds. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have a good bit of mine in 2030 because this target funds, they just rebalance themselves based upon market changes. You don't have to do anything. The one thing that you want to know is that the further you are from retirement, the more riskier investments typically you're willing to take. As you get nearer to retirement, 5 years out, you want your money to be in low risk, low returns. But those are all good questions to ask a financial expert, not Susan. But you are going to see some changes in here. And I do believe he had said this T. Rowe Price blue chip growth is going to be replaced in January of 25 because there is another investment that they recommended that has lower fees and a better return. So you are going to see if you don't want to make any changes on your own, you don't have to reach out to them. You'll be notified if you have money in a particular fund and it's being transferred to another one. You'll be notified in advance of that so that you have time to make your own changes. But when you're on your website, a neat thing to remember is whenever you see the circle with the gold check, that means you have money in those accounts. If there's nothing here, you know, if there's no gold dot or gold check mark, you don't have any money invested there. It gives you a good, easy way to see visually where your money's invested. And the other thing that he mentioned when you're looking at this report, when the category says large cap, mid cap, and small cap, that's basically saying those two top investments are all, yeah, it's in that category, third column. Thank you. Those two top investments are basically the same thing. They're both large cap funds. So, you know, one of the things he said, if you're going to have your money in one, you might as well have it. I mean, in two, you might as well have it all in one because, you know, they're basically the same type of investments. Although I see the difference in the 1 year mark and the 2 year mark that looks significant to me. I might ask him questions on that, but he did share it with us. And the fixed income options, there are some new investments that are going to be available next year that have some more global investment options. So I'll let you read about those as they come forth. So take an opportunity to check out the tools that are available on net benefits. One of the things I didn't realize is that I could turn around and put in my external investments or things that I have into the Fidelity picture. Nobody else can see it. HR can't see it. Blue Wealth guys, they wouldn't be able to log in and see it. But if I want to see a snapshot of all my investments in one place, I can use the desktop in Fidelity to keep track of them individually. So it is a really neat, cool tool to have. All right. And this, yeah, okay. Whew, lots of good stuff there. Really want you to see the contact information for them. Really nice gentlemen. They are available for us, and do not hesitate to reach out to them if you have any individual retirement or investment questions. They will be happy to help. So at this time, I am going to turn it over to Kaylee Baxter, and she is going to warm up the conversation with some new exciting benefits that we have to share.
Thank you, Susan. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Good deal. So I'm going to explore our benefit options quickly, what's new and your benefit options that you'll have. Feel free to stop me and ask questions if you have any. So new for 2025, our dental plan is going to have a new carrier. We're going to move away from Fox Everett Hub and move towards Sun Life for our dental plan. This is going to give us better coverage with lower premiums. So to talk about that better coverage, currently we have a 1,500 max for dental, and that's going to increase to 2,000. Implants will now be covered, and dependent ortho, the current age for that is 19, and it will be increased to 26 for dependent ortho. So there is a dental network with Sun Life. It's the Sun Life Dental Network. And it is a passive network, which means you can see whoever you want. But if you stay in network, it guarantees that you get the discounts that those network provides. So you're going to save money if you stay in network. I mentioned that we have lower premiums, and to show you those rates. So currently our biweekly family dental rate is $1,813, and that is going down to $1,567. And these rates are good for 2 years. So with this dental plan is a new feature called Roll Max, and I will talk about that a little here. So if you have claims less than $800 in a year for dental, you can roll over $600 to the next year, which will add to your annual max for future treatments. You can stack this roll for a couple years up to $1,500. So if you have accumulated that $1,500 rollover limit and you add that to your max, you could have $3,500 to spend for dental procedures. So this could be really helpful for bigger services, like maybe you need a crown replaced, or maybe you have an accident and knock out your front 2 teeth. It's really good for people who may not have a lot of claims in a year, but they'll still be able to take advantage of the dental insurance. So before I move to vision, does anybody have dental questions for us? Okay, I'm going to move on. So vision will also transition to Sun Life. We will use the VSP network for vision. So the VSP network is actually the largest private provider network for vision providers. So more than likely, your eye doctor will be in network, and I'll give you the link to look at that in a second. But there are no ID or claim forms for this. In the past, we've had some issues with people accepting our vision insurance, like they don't accept it. You pay up front, get reimbursed, and checks get lost. It can be complicated. So with this, a more common network, we're hoping to eliminate some of those issues that we've been seeing. And something else that comes with that is no more 24 months for glasses. You do get annual benefits for exams and lenses now. And we'll look at the rates here. They are good for 2 years. Currently, a family is $939, and that's going down to $529 biweekly. Okay, so we'll look just a high overview of the vision upgrades. That VSP network is on the top. It's vsp.com if you want to look to see if your eye doctor is in network. And I want to focus on the third column here, the in-network member cost. So as you see, there's a $10 copay for exams, $25 copay for lenses, and a $300 allowance for frames. So if I go to the eye doctor, I have my exam, and I settle for a $200 pair of frames, I will owe $35 when I leave. If I were to go over that $300 allowance and say get a $400 frame, they would still pay the $300. I would be responsible for the remainder, but they do have a 25% discount for anything over the allowance if you stay in network. If you use Costco for glasses, they already offer deep discounts for the VSP network, so you do see a lower allowance for Costco. If you're a contact wearer, you can use your $300 allowance for contacts in lieu of glasses. All right, any questions about vision or dental so far? Okay, so effective dates. For the end of this year, we will keep doing what we're doing. Continue to submit your claims normally for vision and dental through Fox Everett Hub. That's through the end of this year. For next year, beginning 1/1, the vision and dental will go through Sun Life. So when you go to the dentist or eye doctor, be sure to update your insurance information at those appointments. Usually your receptionist will ask you, like, have there been any changes? And you can tell them then. So as far as cards, Fox Everett Hub will send you a new medical card that doesn't have the dental and vision information on there anymore. The VSP network, as I mentioned, does not have a card. Those pocket contact information cards that Susan mentioned earlier do have the VSP network on there just as a reminder if you need one. The Sun Life network doesn't necessarily, or the Sun Life Dental Network doesn't necessarily need a card. You can go in and tell them you're on the Sun Life Dental and they'll be able to look you up. But you will have an electronic card for dental coverage. Okay, so for medical, nothing has changed with our medical insurance. We're still with Fox Everett Hub, $750 deductible, $1,400 out-of-pocket max, and the $20 copays. And in a world where everything is increasing and inflation is rampant, we are happy to say that our insurance is pretty consistent and we haven't seen much of a change this year. That middle column are the 2025 rates. All right, so during open enrollment, when you log into UKG and go into that open enrollment tool, usually the first selection that you have is combination. You will not see that this year. You will select medical, dental, and vision all separately. If you do not log in to make elections, we will automatically enroll you in comparable coverage. So if you currently have family combination coverage, we will give you family coverage for medical, dental, and vision. So the new dental and vision policies are subject to a waiting period if you don't take the coverage when it's initially available. So if you're interested in the dental or vision programs, I encourage you to go ahead and sign up during open enrollment. If you wait until next year's open enrollment, you will have to wait out that waiting period. And just to talk about the prices again, so the 2024 combination cost for employee only is $105.74, and when we break those all apart for next year, it's 33 cents difference. So better coverage, same cost. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the options that you'll have during open enrollment. When you log onto that open enrollment tool, you do have options to walk through. So we already talked about the top three, medical, dental, and vision. You'll have options for supplemental life and AD&D. These are at $50,000 increments. If you don't have coverage and you enroll in it for the first time, I will reach out to you for an evidence of insurability form. If you sign up for supplemental life, you will have options for spouse life and child life as well. FSA, which is our flexible spending account, allows you to set aside money pre-tax for approved medical expenses. Currently, that limit is $3,200, and for 2025, it will increase to $3,300. So if you currently have that benefit in 24 and you want it in 25, you do have to log in and elect it. This is not something that we can automatically enroll you in. You are required to make the election each year. So we do talk about AFLAC. It's not an option that you have in the open enrollment tool.
Quick
I'm sorry.
question.
Sure.
For the 2024,
Mhm.
if you have funds left over, when do those expire?
March 15th.
March 15th?
Yes.
Okay, so if you put more money in for 2025, do those combine together until March 15th?
There is some overlap. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the website, the MyRSC website shows them. It's really a great site. We'll show you your current and what you have left for this year. And then when you see the next one, it'll show the new year.
Thank you.
Okay. So AFLAC is an option that you have during open enrollment. It is not in the open enrollment tool, but if you have policies with AFLAC or would like to add policies, maybe you want to change what you currently have or add new ones, I encourage you to reach out to Joan Outlaw. She is our AFLAC agent and she would be happy to help you with that. Those open enrollment dates are the same as ours. All right, and 401k, Susan talked about 401k in detail, so I will not. but you can make changes to your 401k policy anytime during the year. So be sure that you're checking your contributions and also ensuring that you have beneficiaries listed on that Fidelity website. So if you do not want to pay for benefits, or if you don't elect to have anything, either way, do or don't, Southern Ionics provides a lot of good things for free to us as employees. One of those is the Employee Assistance Program. With this, you have 3 free sessions for help with personal and work-related issues. Think of things like grief, financial issues, or maybe you're caring for a aging loved one. You can call the Employee Assistance Program and they will get you help that you need. They can, use their network to help you reach out to the right person. Southern Ionics does pay for short and long-term disability. So for the first, you get 60% of your base salary from Mutual of Omaha. And for the first 6 weeks, Southern Ionics supplements that with 40% to make 100%. For the second 6 weeks of illness or injury, we ask that you submit with you supplement with your PTO. And when you look at the grand picture, the big picture of that is you can get 100% of your base salary for the first 12 weeks, which is a huge benefit. If you do need a leave of absence longer than that, you will transition into long-term disability. And if you know anyone, or for Dana as the admin, if you guys know of anyone that's going out, let me know. Or if you know that you have something coming up, go ahead and get your application in for short-term as soon as possible. So you do have $50,000 of group term life paid for you. Be sure to update your beneficiaries during open enrollment. Well, you can do that anytime, but it will be in your open enrollment tool. Rocket Lawyer offers us free legal benefits. There's a document library. You can ask attorneys questions, and there are law discounts. MD Live is telehealth. You can log in on your phone and talk to a physician without having to go sit in a clinic. Working Advantage is a discount portal that we have available. You can save money on things from AAA subscriptions to, maybe you need new tires or you want to go on vacation. There are tons of different ways to save money through Working Advantage. We do have an education and training assistance program. For pre-approved classes for employees, you can get reimbursed up to $7,500 per year. The health and wellness reimbursement plan, the deadline for that is actually the first Friday in December. So if you have participated in 2 of the 4 walking challenges, you can be reimbursed up to $500 for things like gym memberships, health clubs, fitness trackers. So be sure to get that information submitted to HR. And lastly, the scholarship program. If you have legal dependents who have graduated recently or will graduate, have them apply by February the 15th. We do award up to 5 scholarships yearly. Oh, that's a lot, right? We have a lot of great benefits. It can be hard to remember them all. So if you log into UKG and go to News and Information, and then scroll down, you will see benefit provider sites. And there is a link to each one of the things that I have talked about today. And it will guide you to their website so you can take advantage of all of those benefits. And if you guys don't have questions for me, I will turn it back over to Susan and she will wrap up our meeting.
Okay, thank you, Kaylee. And yes, we do have a lot of really good benefits. As you get ready to do the open enrollment process, which will start on the 25th, next Monday, the tool will be available to you. As Kaylee mentioned, one of the first things you have the opportunity to elect your medical, dental, and vision coverage individually, because we won't have the combination plan. You'll elect them each as a separate item. And once you select the plan, like medical, if I'll have choices, a radio button that will say employee only, employee plus spouse, employee plus children, or family coverage. And I pick whichever one of those applies to me. And then the drop-down list below of my contacts that are in the system, I will pick and choose who is going to be on my plan. So at this point, I want to make sure that we cover if your spouse has coverage available to them through their employer, They must accept that coverage before they are allowed to be on Southern Ionic's plan. So if in prior years, my husband was working and had health insurance available to him, and he was on my plan as a secondary coverage, but now he's retired or not working, whatever, he would be on mine as primary because there's no other coverage available to him through an employer. So just think about that as you get ready to make your elections. Does your spouse have coverage through their job? Yes or no? If you want to put them on our plan, they would be secondary. They can't be primary on our plan if they have other coverage available. I know that's confusing, and a lot of things about secondary coverage or coordination of benefits can be confusing. So if you have questions, I'll be happy to help. But there are some potential downsides to having dual coverage or secondary coverage. And one of those is that I want to just make sure you understand, if you pick employee plus spouse coverage and you're paying out of your paycheck to have them on our insurance, you're paying premiums for them, and they are paying their employer premiums to be on their own plan, you're paying double premium, but you will never get double benefits. Secondary coverage will, Southern Ionics will never pay more than they would have paid had they been primary. So they're going to pay up to the difference of our plan's allowed amount. The example on the screen shows it so perfectly. Is if I went and had a service that was normally covered at 80% and the primary coverage paid 75, Fox Everett or Southern Ionics Insurance would pick up the other 5%. So if I'm paying $100 26 times in a year to get a 30% payback, a $30 payback on a bill, it may not be a good investment for my premiums. I would say I'd put the money in an FSA account and pay the difference on my bills. But just as long as you understand the rules, who can be on our plan, spouses can be on our plan as primary if they don't have health insurance elsewhere, or they can be on our plan as secondary if they have health insurance through their job. That's the main thing that you need to remember. And then the second, which is really important to you, is the max out of pocket is voided when you have two insurance plans. And as Kaylee mentioned, our maximum out of pocket is $1,400 and our deductible is $750. If I have two insurance plans, I'm on my plan and my husband's, I have dual insurance, the max out of pocket is voided from Southern Ionics. If I have Medicare in this plan, it's voided. So dual insurance voids the max out of pocket. What that could mean to you in that situation is if I had a $65,000 hospital bill with Southern Ionics, my Southern Ionics coverage would be $2,000, $2,150. That's a $750 deductible and a $1,400 out of pocket. So with a $65,000 bill and one insurance, I would owe $2,150 on a covered service. That's great. But if I had two insurances, my husband's and mine, my primary with Southern Ionics would not stop at $1,400. And my coverage, which the amount I would show, 20% of that bill would be about $13,000. Now, maybe my secondary would pick up all of the 13. I don't know. It depends on how your secondary works. But I don't want our employees to think that two insurances are better than one. You need to remember the two most important things off this slide is we'll never pay more than we would have paid, the difference of what we would have paid if we're primary. And your max out of pocket is voided when you have two insurances. So anybody have any questions on that? All right. And then just as a reminder on that is oftentimes things change. As I said, maybe your spouse is working now, but partway through the year, they change jobs or they retire. That's a life change event. You can add them to our plan if they lose their coverage through their existing plan. So don't feel like, it's one and done. You have to but You're making your enrollment election based upon your situation during open enrollment. Okay, so open enrollment dates will start Monday, the 25th and go through December 15th. Any changes that you make will go into effect 1/1 of 25. Kaylee has put together a really great benefit booster. It's about 8 minutes. It's a perfect step-by-step tutorial on how to do open enrollment. If you want to watch that first, just to make sure that you understand the process, I highly encourage it. Links for it was in yesterday's Wellness Wednesday. It'll be in next week's Wellness Wednesday probably also. So if you can't find it, let us know. We'll get it to you. One of the questions earlier asked about the 2024 FSA amounts. It must be used by March 15th of 2025. You have a 2.5 month grace period to use prior year FSA dollars in the new year. Don't throw your card away. If you have an FSA account right now, you look at the expiration date. They're usually good for a 3-year mark. Mine did expire in November of 24, but I've already gotten my new card. So I'm all set for next year. Your 2025 amounts will be loaded to the same card that you have after the first pay period in January. So then you can start using your 2025 balance. If you've got money left in your FSA account, there's lots of ways for you to spend that. If you're worried, take a look on the FSA page. There's a link to eligible expenses. There's a great store called FSA.com that sells all kinds of FSA approved items. You can use your FSA card online to do that and stock up on things that you might need at the house. Over-the-counter meds, there's lots of things, but just know if you don't use that money by March 15th of 2025, it will evaporate. And I know it's been mentioned before, but we'll just keep saying it. If you want an FSA account for next year, you've got to go through the open enrollment process and make that election each year. The IRS requires it. And the last thing on this slide that I want to just remind everybody is our policy requires that you use 80 hours of PTO before any balance could be eligible for rollover or payout. I ran a report not too long ago, and out of 330 some employees, we had 20 people who had not used 80 hours. So hopefully it's not you I'm talking to, but if it is, know that those first 80 hours you cannot carry over or get paid for. So I highly encourage you to schedule before the end of the year. And pay in lieu will be processed the second pay date in January without fail. You don't have to worry about that. We will be sending some communications out after the Thanksgiving holiday, just letting people know how to make their elections if they want to carry any over. You are eligible to carry 40 hours from 2024 into the 2025 year. A maximum of 40 hours can be carried over. Anything above that will be paid out. Second paycheck in January. So if you still have questions, I'll stay on the line, be happy to answer any of those questions today, or if you want to do them one-off, we can do them over the phone. But I really do appreciate that you were able to log on today and spend a few minutes with us. I hope that you learned some good information and you're ready to do open enrollment. Anybody have any questions or want us to go back on any of the slides?